It's an opportunity to learn more about how children learn at this age. I had a lot of misconceptions. I had a lot of thoughts about how I could best support the overall development of my child. And having an opportunity to learn that some of those were not correct, some of them were, it's just invaluable. And it has had an impact not just on my daughter's academic learning, but also on her emotional development.
I've learned over the years that one of the best things to tell families is I don't necessarily have all the answers, that I need you. You are the one that knows your child. I'm the new one here. I'm learning about your child. So I need you in order to be the best teacher for your child. Another really important message, and I don't think it can be said to parents enough, is I care very much about your child.
At individual conferences, I really want parents to walk away with feeling like they have like one or two things that they feel like their child's really grown in or excelled in, and one or two things where they feel like they can help push their child to further their development going forward. And really feel like they, in addition to, through that, I want them to feel like they're connected to what's going on in the classroom and feel good about the trajectory their child's on.
Things that I most want to speak about during the individual parent conferences are their progress, like how are they doing compared to the beginning of the year.
My goal at conferences is for parents not to hear anything that they haven't really heard before from me. So I try and make it so that this is a time where we can sit down and really dig into something, but I want them to have an idea of these things that I'm bringing up beforehand. And therefore, since it's been consistent throughout, that afterwards we can check in. The other thing is I try and prepare ahead of time based on my data that I have in class, as well as my observations, the things that I've noticed, and I try and pull out one or two key strengths and one or two keyword spots for development.
Patrice, I just want to say thank you for coming in. I know you're really busy, so I really appreciate your time coming in and being so flexible with our meeting time. So I just want to talk to you in general about how he's doing. Mm-hmm. So with reading, we can go over some of his guided reading stuff. So James is doing really, really well. I'm really happy with his progress, but I wanted to share with you how he's doing. So James is in the pink group. So we started off at the beginning of our guided reading time. We started him out on a level C, and then he was able to read every single word correct in the level C book. He still struggles sometimes when we come up with messages using new vocabulary. Mm-hmm. He'll still struggle, and he might need a reminder. So he'll say, Mr. Terrell, I forgot my message. So I'll tell him, okay, go ask your buddy, or I'll remind him your message was this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. And what I found is that if I'm dictating the message for him, or if he remembers the message, he can spell it out perfectly. Mm-hmm. But again, the comprehension is something that we're working on. When I give parents strategies or feedback, I feel like they're really acceptant and really excited to try the things at home. Every once in a while, there are parents who might say that, oh, that's not going to work with my child, or I don't have time to do that. And with those families, I try my best to say, okay, well, what other solutions can we come up with together? And I find that if we talk about it enough, and we talk about their personal situation, what their home life is like, what their schedule is like, we can usually come up with a solution that'll meet the needs of that family and that student.
Sometimes it's a matter of helping inform them about what might be appropriate for their child. And sometimes they've got a really ambitious goal for their child, and I say, okay, well, let's go for it. We don't want to stress them out, but let's see how far we can get. And we say, here are the steps. Here's where they are right now. Here's where we want them to be at the end of the year. And breaking them down into what are each objective or each skill that comes along the way up till that goal, and ways parents can work on them at home, and ways that show them how we're working on it at school.
Do you have any questions about James' progress in school, or any specific questions or concerns?
I think we both agree that he needs to get his focus together. So, do you have any tips or anything about how I can get him to focus? We have a really hard time getting him to sit down and do his homework. Okay. So to get him to really focus, and get done with it before he moves on to the next thing. Yes, this is a big problem we're having at home right now.
Yes.
If I hadn't been exposed to this, I would be having to pry between my child and the teacher to try to figure out exactly what's going on with my children and what's going on in the classroom. And that's not a problem because we communicate in all kinds of ways. I feel like growing up, my parents probably had to guess what was going on in the classroom unless I told them. It just holds everybody accountable. I'm accountable for making sure they do what they're supposed to do at home. They're accountable for making sure they get their homework and making sure they're supposed to do what they're supposed to behavior-wise and learning-wise. And the teacher is accountable for doing her job, and we're all a team.